Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Hot Toys Sideshow exclusive Batman Begins Batman. This 1/6 scale figure from the Batman Begins line, and technically it's not really the Batman Begins Hot Toys version, but is the Sideshow exclusive release of the Batman Begins suit. So essentially you can get the original suit as with how Batman first came about, and you can have it transition into what he will eventually wear in the Batman Begins movie. And I guess really for that matter, what he wears at the beginning of Dark Knight as well. Yes, it is an older figure. Spot has had this in his collection for a bit, and I don't even know why I waited so long to actually review it. I should have actually just reviewed it, as soon as I picked it up. But it was just something I put away in the collection and thought to myself, you know what, I really should go back and have a look at it and give it a proper review. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. The side of the box doesn't really feature so much any details, I should say. On the back, there is the warning: choking hazard is an adult collectible. It's not a toy, and it's recommended for ages 15 and up. Just before, by the way, we open up the box itself, what I do like, though, is that it's the original suit, give or take. Obviously, he didn't have the bat symbol when he was wearing the original harness, but still, it's essentially how the figure's going to look. I do like how that is incorporated also into the box. The inside flap shows Batman Begins Hot Toys presents cast and crew and shows the sculptors responsible for producing this piece. Then from there you can also take the flap right off, and you can see right away there's Bruce Wayne. He comes with his mask, he comes with what will be eventually the cowl that Batman sports, and a whole slew of different accessories. That being said, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Hot Toys Sideshow exclusive, The Batman Begins Batman. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. You'll have to bear with Spot as I actually have to hold Batman here. I've got a bit of a problem with my figure. I'll get into that in a second. But first things first, the thing we'll have a look at is the display stand that comes with the piece. Now, I'm okay with the fact that the top says Batman Begins, obviously because this figure is depicted from Batman Begins. The thing I'm not super crazy about, and that's something that other collectors have pointed out as well, I don't like that it says Batman / Bruce Wayne Batsuit Begins version. I don't know why it couldn't have just said Batman Begins, or just say Batman on the front, because it already really says Batman Begins on the top. The placard, I think, just has too much going on. Just should have really said Batman. That's all it should have said. I mean, we know it's Bruce Wayne. We don't really need for it to say Batman / Bruce Wayne, but we kind of get the idea. It's a standard display stand, so the neck is adjustable. It raises and lowers. I actually have to do this with one hand just right now, just show you guys, but it does raise and lower fairly easy. Fairly easy if you had two hands. Now, the reason why I have to hold Batman here, no, it's not going to stand. The reason why I have to hold Batman is because I've got problems with this particular figure. For the most part, there's nothing broken on it, pretty much from the head to about here. And the issue is that when I took him out of packaging, and granted this guy's been sitting in a box for a very long time, bought him brand new, the problem is that the ankles are shattered. You can't see it, but the ball joint, there's a ball joint that sits at the top of the calf, and then there's a ball joint that sits in. So basically, there's a ball joint that attaches to the bottom of the leg, and then there's a ball joint that attaches to the foot. You'll notice that the foot it's not technically attached. If I was to take this down, and the hardest part too is getting your fingers on anything on this figure. Everything on it has this loose rubbery outfit, which I like, but it's also hard to get to stuff because your fingers keep sliding off the suit. But I had to roll down the boots, which are all rubber, to try to get to that ball joint, and I realized the horrible truth was that the the socket that holds the ball joint was shattered. The ball joint socket, if you could imagine by my demonstration, it can kind of go like this. It's not attached to the foot. So even when the ball joint sits into that socket, there's nothing really that's holding that foot together. It's all loose. If not for this boot, which I'm kind of want to just keep tight, keep pulling this up. If not for the boot remaining tight, the ankle would just be all over the place. It would be like Sid Justice or Sid Vicious in WCW, where the ankle was just all over the place. So this would be a situation where I will extend this, and the figure itself I'll have to keep on the display stand, which is, it's not terrible, mind you. I'll probably just display him in the display shelf anyways on the stand, but it's a shame that it's broken. It will do what purpose it needs to do as display purposes go, but it's just a shame that the ankle is broken. At any rate, the piece itself, excluding for the fact that my QC just on this particular unit, as a whole though, the piece looks fantastic. To some debate, of course, this is Batman Begins Batsuit, but this is also Batman while he is in the early stages of being the vigilante, entering into Commissioner, or at that time, not Commissioner Gordon, but, his office, masked. The thing is, though, the suit itself, well, he wouldn't have really had the bat symbol and stuff going on there, but that's okay. The harness kind of does a pretty good enough job of hiding it, so it doesn't bother me all that much. And truth be told, I would be displaying Batman anyways in the Batman Begins outfit, complete with cowl. So despite the fact that this symbol is there, it doesn't bother me all that much. Let me also say too that the suit is a soft, very soft rubber. Other people have also criticized the suit for being too, there's too much excess in the suit, like where you can squeeze it and you can see that it doesn't conform completely to his body frame. I'm personally okay with that. It doesn't, like looking at the figure doesn't look fat. It doesn't look like it's a big chunky build. Yeah, it does have a little excess there, but you know what? That excess also helps a lot by allowing him to move his arms. It doesn't seem at all very restricted. The only downside, again, is if anything, much like ankles, if anything gets broken inside the piece, it's going to be hard to get to the pieces, get to the joints themselves. But yeah, as it goes, I really love the body. The suit works. The rubber doesn't bother me at all. I'm just disappointed that the ankles were broken. But, as a whole, though, I'm very, very happy with the piece. Now, let's get a look at the face. Now, this is it's not a Batman Begins Batman, like I mentioned before. I think it was right around, was it Dark Knight that this figure got released? It might have just been right around Dark Knight Returns or Dark Knight Rises. So, like, the head is further along with, I think, getting better and better. Like, if they had still utilized the Batman Begins original head, Bruce Wayne was a little rougher. The sculpt wasn't as good as this. It also looks as if his forehead is a little wet, as if, he's, obviously he must be pretty hot in that suit. I like that his head looks like there's a little bit of glistening to it. If I was to compare this to like another Batman Bruce Wayne head, for example, the newer Bruce Wayne heads are much better in sculpt, but I gotta really still give props to this particular Bruce Wayne head for still looking not outdated, is the word I probably would say. It looks good enough if I was to display it just as I see right now, just as you guys are looking at right now. I would be pretty content displaying it like that and saying, you know what? Yeah, that's a pretty good Bruce Wayne head. That's a pretty good Christian Bale sculpt. I'm still very impressed with it. Again, it's not going to be the head that I'm going to use, but still, I have to say, though, it's still a really solid face. And let me also say, too, you probably will see it close up here. This The suit, the rubbery suit, is a magnet for hair, debris. It's, you know, like those, you know, those Swiffers, like those rubber, little rubber things that take hair off stuff. For all intents and purposes, that's essentially what the suit is made out of. It's this rubber that if you were to basically rub Bruce Wayne's, not that you would, if you were to take his suit and rub it on your carpet, this thing would just be covered in hair. So this is the kind of thing that you would want to definitely keep in a cabinet. I've got just a couple of hairs on the top here there. And it's not very easy to take the hair off too, because like everything sticks to it just like a magnet would. Now, because this is technically the first appearance of Bruce Wayne as a vigilante, of course he's also got to come with his little mask, his little ski mask. They call it by the directions, funny enough, ninja mask. I don't know if I would constitute this as a ninja mask. It's more like just like a ski mask. But you can take it and you just fit it over Bruce Wayne's head. It's funny enough, it's loose when you get it on, as it should be. Like there's extra excess to it. But getting it on, it can be a little bit to kind of fight it to get it fitted on there. And that's what he looks like. I would say completionists probably may find themselves picking up two of these. Two of these to display Bruce Wayne like this, and then the other one to be displayed like Batman Begins, like or you know, for that matter, Batman. I like the look, but if I only have one figure to mix and match, to do what I, you know, to get it into the way I want to have them displayed as, I would not be displaying it as this. I like that, you know, I like that the option was there, but I definitely would be displaying it more so as Batman. I like the option that they included this, or for that matter, I might be more inclined, if anything, just to take the mask off. If I had two of these, which I don't, if I had two of these, I probably would display one as Bruce Wayne like this, and then one as the Cape Crusader, you know, full cowl cape and everything else. Another thing I want to point out too is the harness that he's got sporting going on there too. He's got two different utility belts, and I'll show you guys that in a second as well. But the harness is good. It's like an actual material harness. And to remove it, it's not just simply, you know, Velcro and stuff. You actually have to unfeed, you have to actually feed the harness through itself and take the whole thing off. You want to take this off first, which detaches the main harness, and then you can get it around his shoulders. But you have to actually take the utility belt off completely first before the harness will come completely off. So we want to reach around to the back, and you want to get the section of the utility belt that detaches like that, and you want to take the utility belt completely off. Now this utility belt serves two purposes, certainly as Bruce Wayne, but you can also have Batman just displayed with it if you don't want all the extra pockets and stuff. There's still the clip on the back that holds his grapple gun. It just is a matter of preference for you as to whether you want to have it with pockets or without. I kind of prefer Batman displayed without pockets so he doesn't have all the extra stuff going on. I might be more inclined to display him like this and not so much with the extra pockets. So like the other Batmans, you get two different utility belts, one this and then one the other one I'll show you guys in a second. The last thing you'll want to do with Bruce Wayne to get his harness off, just take him off his display stand here, is that he has clips, little snaps, kind of like the same kind of snaps you would have on a knapsack, you know, little pinch snaps that you got to pinch the sides and then pull them off. You want to do the same with Batman here. And of course, everything is micro-sized. You're taking a 1-to-1 scale and you're shrinking it down to what, like a 1/12 scale. So you got to get your fingers in there, you got to pinch these, and you got to detach them. There's the one, and then we can go ahead and detach the other. And luckily too, that it's a dense enough rubber that I don't feel like I'm gonna rip it. Of course, some caution should be made. You don't want to be overly rough with it, but you want to detach the other harness cable like that. I wanted to do this all on camera too, so you guys could see how it comes off. It's not overly hard. I guess if anything, the hardest part would just be getting it around his gauntlets here, just because these gauntlets, you can kind of turn them in, which helps too, and then you can feed the harness completely off. Get him around his fingers. Always the first one is the hardest, and then the other one is easy peasy, and this just comes right off. And then you've got Batman. Well, you've got Bruce Wayne, bare bones Batman, without his cowl, without his utility belt, and that's what the suit would look like. The suit, and really, actually, this is a good opportunity too for me to show you just what the suit looks like without all the other stuff. We haven't technically put the cape on yet, we haven't put the cowl on yet, and we haven't put the utility belt on. That's what Batman's going to look like. And this, it's still one of my favorite Batman suits. Truthfully, I actually was disappointed in the Dark Knight that he switched over his suits. I love this suit, and I love the cowl more so than the little sectional thing that he ended up getting. Yeah, I understand from a realistic end of it, he has to be able to move. I mean, he's Batman, he can't be limited. But I don't know, I just like this, I love this suit much, much more. In order to also, to get him prepped for Batman, he's got the two sockets where his cape will go into, but you actually have to take the head off, put the cape on, and then put the cowl essentially on top of that. So we're going to first reach up. Sorry, Bruce. We're going to actually just wiggle and take his head right off. And his head's actually fairly easy to take off. There's Christian Bale. Seeing worse for wear, I'm afraid, because he doesn't have his body, but that's Christian Bale in a nutshell, or in a head. Oh, okay. Yeah, so there he is. And then once that's off, we can go ahead and put the cape on. Luckily, both the cape and the other utility belt are packaged very nice, flat in this extra piece that's found at the bottom of the box. Luckily, nothing has gotten to it. Debris-wise, the cape is still nice and flat. It hasn't been wrinkled. But we're going to just take this, we're going to open this up, and we're going to get the cape attached to Batman. Just like that. First, taking the utility belt, put that to the side. We won't need that just yet. The cape can be a little tricky. I won't lie to you, it can be a little tricky. You've got some snaps on the top, right, the top section here, and you need to actually feed those snaps through, and because, see, you can see it right now. This whole section, because it's all rubbery, is just going to move around for you. So you need to drape it over Batman and do your best to get those snaps attached to Batman. And sometimes you actually have to get, I say sometimes, you might only have to do this once, get your finger underneath the collar of the suit and do your best to kind of hold everything in place while you get the pegs pegged in. If not for that, you might find yourself a couple of times readjusting the whole suit because Batman's rubbery suit wants to move around on you. One thing also you might want to do too is take these off. You want to take these off. These are just the covers. You take that one off and you want to take that one off. That makes things a lot easier for pegging the cape into place. If you've succeeded this far, congratulations. You've accomplished a feat of patience and willpower. This cape will test you probably further past the stretches of what you would normally have had to deal with when it comes to a 6 scale piece. These pegs can be ridiculously difficult to peg into place, but once that's all into place, then we can go ahead and grab Batman's head, the alternate head, and we want to take the peg ball joint, the ball joint socket there, and we want to attach Batman's head. Again, an easy task, not quite. It's going to take a little bit of adjusting. Once you're at the point of putting the head on, you can pretty much sit back with ease knowing that you've succeeded and passed the hardest part of putting together this figure. The head does a pretty good job of putting essentially everything, all the cape in place. It also holds the cape from going anywhere, because even a couple of times these pegs popped back out. I actually had to pause and get them affixed back into place. But once you get the cowl in place, everything is okay. And then you can go ahead and grab either the utility belt that has all the little gadgets and pockets, or you can go back to the old tried and true. Just by the way, showing you the other utility belt, there are sections to it that house his different components. Like The cell phone is there, although the cell phone is not removable. There is a section for the supplied batarangs. You can put those in there as well. And they just attach in like this. You get 2 of them. They're just a plastic, by the way, a little like gold plastic. You take those, and it doesn't fit perfectly 2, but you can get 2 in there. And then there is still the section on the back once you, of course, clasp the belt shut. Still an area where you can attach the grapple gun. But just to show you the comparisons between the two, if not for the pockets and the other things, it's basically the same belt. But I don't really like... I know as a Batman fan personally, you would think I would love a more beefed up utility belt, but I don't know, for Batman Begins Batman, and even for that matter, you know, the Nolan Batmans, I kind of more like the simplicity of a more simple looking belt that doesn't have as much going on for it. You can go with either or, mind you, but I kind of prefer this one over this one here. The utility belt does a pretty good job of finishing up the rest of Batman's look. And the look I have here is quite nice if you ask me. Now, one of the reasons also why Spot wanted to go back and have a look at this particular figure and was really 2 reasons. Finally, it gave me a chance to get this guy out, get him out on display, because he's been in a box for a while. And one of the other reasons why I wanted to have a look at this figure too is having seen other people having a look at the figure through reviews and stuff like that. One of the issues that they touched base on was the cape. The cape itself, a lot of people have swapped this material cape out for other materials instead, things like velour and crushed velvet and stuff like that, because they feel like the cape just doesn't look the way it does in the movie. Seeing the cape now, finally getting this out on the figure, I'm not actually all that bothered by the cape. And I've seen images also of this particular figure, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it was just the way that the figure was displayed, maybe it was just the way that the person was showing the figure, but the cape looked like it just billowed out. It looked like it was just a really bad material. I don't know, I don't feel that. I feel now that I've got him on display, I'm fine with the fabric that they went with. Granted, it still is a magnet for debris. I'm just been picking away stuff off the cape, even though I just took it out of the packaging, getting the hair all off and whatnot. But the cape doesn't bother me. The one thing that did bother me was clasping it onto the blasted torso, but it doesn't stick out as much as it looked like it did when I saw other images of this figure, where it just looked like it just stuck right out and there was nothing you could really do with it. I'd be more inclined to display the figure with his cape back, nice and tight on the figure, versus having it sticking out. That's the look I prefer. I mean, you could have it quite a bit distance out. As you can see, it's almost got like a nylon parachute material inside, whereas the outer side is more like almost again like a velour or crushed velvet. I don't have a problem. I don't really have a problem with the cape. I think it looks good. It's long, which I think it should be. You couldn't have done this figure justice if you had gone with a short cape. And luckily the cape, has a good enough length to it that you can put Batman in pretty good dynamic poses. Getting a look at the Batman face, it's pretty good. I do think they did a good job on the piece. I don't even think now, if they'd re-release this guy, and it's very unlikely that they would re-release a Batman Begins version of Batman, but I think the face works. It does look like Batman. The face, the mouth, you like it or you don't like it. That weird look Batman always, at least Christian Bale's Batman always did. If you aren't super crazy about the lower face, like this, I think works pretty good. Down below, at least you have options. You can either swap it out for 2 other lower face plates. One just a regular mouth. One is Batman trying to talk while he's eating something, like a throat lozenge. And with these, they're magnetized. You just take them off like that and swap them out for another faceplate. I'm just kind of doing this on camera here. There we go. Not really sure which one I would go with. I can tell you this. I wouldn't go with this one. Where is it? Blah, 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 blah. Just not crazy about that lower face. I guess for Batman, I probably would go with this one, the default that was out of packaging. I think it works better for Batman Begins Batman, Dark Knight Batman. I probably wouldn't go that route. One other thing too, for myself at least, I was trying to check videos on this, different reviews, and one question I had, and let me answer this right now for you, is I wondered if this lower faceplate was interchangeable with the Dark Knight Batman or Dark Knight Rises Batman. And let me tell you though, it unfortunately it doesn't. You can't swap this mouth with that Batman. It's two different sizes, unfortunately. So you're only, unfortunately, using the 3 that came included. Because I almost would have been thinking, okay, well, maybe I can swap the lower mouth with the other Batman, the newer release Batman, where at least I would get a better sculpt on the lower face. But unfortunately, those sizes are completely different from one another. And what better time to show you guys a comparison between this and the newer released figures. Let's have a look at the Batman Begins Batman compared with the Dark Knight Rises Batman. And like I was saying, I thought these pieces could be interchanged with one another, the lower jaw. But unfortunately, as you can see, the lower jaw on Dark Knight Rises Batman is way too small to swap it out with the Batman Begins Batman. Here's how the two heads stack up to one another. Of course, Batman Begins Batman's got a much broader cowl because it carries from the head right into the neck area. And Batman from Dark Knight Rises had the separate, almost motorcycle helmet type cowl that he put on as a separate piece. Still really like the broader neck. It just kind of finishes off the look of Batman. I'm still not crazy about this design of his suit. But you can see the differences though between the two pieces. The accessories that come included with Batman Begins Batman are, of course, we've already had a look at the other utility belt, complete with removable, yes indeed, removable batarangs. Again, your preference, depending on which way you want to display them. I'd be inclined more to display them just without the extra stuff. Batman also gets his trusty grapple gun. The grapple gun and the utility belt seem darker in gold color than the Dark Knight Rises and possibly the Dark Knight. I don't have the Dark Knight Batman, I just have the Dark Knight Rises Batman. But both accessories seem darker in color. Whereas by comparison, the Dark Knight Rises Batman had a much lighter gold colored grapple gun. I think it's the same gun though. Paint's quite nice on it. Doesn't have any of the movable pieces, but again, when you're not displaying Batman, you can have the grapple gun attached to the back of his utility belt. He also includes one singular bomb that he uses in Arkham Asylum. And of course, no Hot Toys would be complete without a slew of extra hands. And Batman has different hands ranging from partially open hands. So he's got a couple of gripping hands, while this hand would be suitable for holding the grapple gun. And he's got a smaller gripped hand for holding the batarangs. And he's just got, I guess this would be another holding, probably again for the grapple gun, just another gripping hand. Changing Batman's hands only involve you to kind of wiggle. You just want to pop these off the socket like so. This also to note, the gauntlets here slide off, so when you take the hands off, make sure you keep those in place as well. Take the hand that you want to replace it to, and you want to also make sure that you take this one. Actually, funny enough, the Batman Begins Batman here didn't come with extra pegs. Funny enough, he only came with the pegs that are already attached to his hands. So in case you break these, I guess you could probably make use of just standard black pegs that come attached with, well, come included with other Hot Toys pieces. In this case though, we're going to have to wiggle the extra peg out of the hand here. When it comes to Batman's articulation, he does have a ball joint in the head, but I find the problem with any articulation in Batman's head, when you start moving it too much, I've had the head pop off a couple of times, and it is a pain, along with the cape, to get back into place. It does rotate, but again, it can be a little difficult once that starts giving you problems. Batman does have an upper torso ball joint, which also has a swivel at the waist. And you can see, though, how much clearance that suit allots for. Both swivel back and forth. A lot of clearing, although when you start rotating it too much, you do see a lot of the excess suit kind of just staying behind. He has ball joint shoulders, swivel points in the bicep, what looks to be a double bend in the elbow, which is quite nice, swivel and hinge in the hands. Then when it comes to his legs go forward and back, out. He has a double bend at the knee. And what I would normally have said about his ankles, sadly, again, because that ankle is broken, he would have ball joints both in the calf area, and then he'd have a ball joint sitting in the foot socket, allowing for a double ball joint hinge. But as sadly, again, I can't do much with it because of the joint being broken. Despite the Batsuit Begins Batman being a exercise in frustration, sadly, when it came to, well, the ankles, pegging the capes once again into place, and the head, it's still a good figure, and it's probably one of the better ways, one of the better examples to get Batman if you wanted to get him from his Batman Begins roots. You could go the earlier route, but comparing what the earlier Batman Begins looked like versus this one, I think this is still a far superior example of the piece. Despite its hiccups, if you can overlook its small little hiccups here and there, I think as a whole it's a great piece, and one that you would want to add to your collection if you've already got the other Batmans been released after the fact. Today's collectible spot, we were having a look at the Sideshow exclusive, the Hot Toys Batsuit Begins version. I still don't like the name of that. Batsuit Begins Batman/Bruce Wayne. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. Thanks for watching, as you always do. I'll see you next time.